Section of Kenyan political and judicial leaders attended a memorial mass in honor of Pope Francis ahead of his burial scheduled for Saturday morning at the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Now, the service held at Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi was marked by prayers, tributes and messages reflecting the Pope's legacy of humility, peace and service to God. Here's more from Willie Dennis Njiru.
With the world preparing to bid final farewell to Pope Francis, Kenyan leaders gathered for a solemn mass at Holy Family Basilica, reflecting on a papacy that touched millions. In attendance was former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who remembered Pope Francis as a humble servant of God, one who inspired hope and unity. Uhuru also shared a personal moment, recalling a request he once made to Pope Francis to meet an unnamed individual, a meeting the Pope graciously accepted.
Anyway, I decided I was going to put the message across. He said, "Oh, no problem." So I invited the person over to my office. Before we moved out, sat, and, I went back to my seat. There was silence in the room, so nobody's talking. And His Holiness turned and looked at me and told me, "I thought you said you wanted to talk to me."
And Pope Francis did not tire to repeat that he was a sinner in need of mercy. And actually, according to my opinion, that attitude revealed his great holiness, because the holiest people always feel that they are the worst sinners.
Also present was Chief Justice Koome, who hailed the late Pope for his enduring message of peace and justice.
We can ask ourselves whether we are sowing sins of love or we are sowing sins of disunity, whether we are sowing sins of peace or sins of violence.
The Nairobi Mass mirrored memorial services taking place across the globe ahead of the final rites on Saturday, to be presided over by Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State. Thousands of faithful and dignitaries from around the world are expected to gather at St. Peter's Basilica for the Pope's state funeral. President William Ruto, currently on a state visit to China, will be represented at the Vatican by National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula. The world will unite tomorrow in mourning and in celebration of a life that deeply impacted the church and the global community. Paul Kirobi, TV 47.